Hi, all the viewer. It's great to have Robert from Small Business Administrations, Long Island, to be back with us, along with his colleague, Sam. We're gonna ask a few questions, the driver really care about. And, I wanna start off by introduce what we do at Drivers Benefits. We are an organization that provides a free benefit for every black car-based drivers in New York State. We have telemedicine, we have discounted dental services, we have car car accident assistance services and extra service. I encourage everyone to visit our website at driverbenefit.org. We're gonna contain a lot of information that's related to the drivers, but today we're gonna focus on asking Robert and Sam about the question for the PPP forgivable loans. I want to start off by asking the first questions, which is as a reminder to drivers, what expenses from the PPP can be forgiven?
Well, first of all, Henry, let me say we're thrilled to be here today with you all. And I mentioned this last time I was on. What the service that you all provide is amazing. We make a lot about our healthcare providers, and rightfully so, as well as those who protect us. But you all carry us where we got to go, sometimes in really challenging times. So thank you for the service that every member of this organization provides to the community. So what expenses are covered? The PPP, it's a Paycheck Protection Program. So as the name suggests, it's designed to help employers, or if you're self-employed, help you as a self-employed individual pay wages. So ideally, and there's been a number of changes, which we're not going to get much into the weeds today, but the whole program is designed to get money back in the pockets of employees and or owner-operators. Now, there's been a couple of changes since we last spoke. And again, we won't get too involved in this topic of conversation, but the good news is, if you go to SBA.gov or Google and you just query PPP forgiveness, you will get to SBA.gov page. The forms that are utilized now as guidance for those who are anticipating forgiveness requests, the instructions are right there on page 2. It tells you exactly what kind of compensation amounts that you can ask forgiveness for, and what kind of non-cash expenses you can also apply to be covered under the PPP. A reminder, forgiveness means the more you get forgiven for the money you take from the PPP, that means you don't pay that amount back. So if you utilize the funds correctly, I mean, ultimately 100% correctly, you won't have to pay any of it back. But again, the key is the money is going towards restoring wages to people who would not have otherwise been paid, or some expenses that are vital to keeping the business going. So again, look at the form. It's right on there exactly what can be forgiven.
Thank you, Robert. The second question is, where can drivers find their loan forgiveness form?
So that's sort of builds on the last question. The best source for you is to look at Google or SBA.gov, the website, and just in the query pull forgiveness, and the form will pop up. Now, I want to make a strong appeal here. This whole program is going through our delegated authority that we give by the SBA to SBA lenders. So everybody listening will most likely get their form. You want to get this form from your lender. Whoever lends you the money for the PPP program, you want to get their version of the form. And I don't know of one single lender that has their version of the form ready just yet. So more information will be forthcoming, but that's where you're going to get the decisive information.
Thank you. Question number 3, what are some best practices for being ready for loans forgiveness?
So the best practices are, there's only really a few that really are vital to what you want to accomplish. Number one, I would go onto SBA.gov. I would print out the forms that are on there. The forms 3508 EZ or the standard 3508 as guidelines. If you read through those forms, it takes you through what elements you have to produce to your lender. So the day's going to come when the lender will give you your form, but the best practice is get it off of the SBA or the Treasury website now, so at least you have a template of what kind of documentation you need to have in order to accumulate and prepare the necessary forms for forgiveness.
Mm. So, great. Thank you for answering that. The fourth question is, what is the process of getting your loan forgiven? And where does the driver send the application? How long does it take to process? There's additional step after submitting. How will they be alerted of this? You kind of answer some portion of these questions, but you know, so it's basically kind of like a simple walkthrough of applying for this loan.
So again, the key thing is you have to get the information, the forms from your lender. You have to work with a lender on this. Now, sometimes it's difficult. It might be an online lender. So we anticipate there will be a portal where you can communicate digitally with the loan disbursement center for your lender. How quickly must you get it in? You have 10 months from the end of your covered period. So you have time. You're not paying anything. You get a deferment for, I believe, 6 months anyway. So there's no rush, but don't fall asleep. It's up to you to ask forgiveness. If you have a lender who forgets to send you the form, remind them quickly you want the form ASAP. Once you submit your form to the lender, they have 60 days to give you a decision on, are you totally forgiven or what percentage you are forgiven. It's possible not to be 100% forgiven on this loan, but obviously if you do everything correctly, the goal is to have 100% forgiveness.
So great. So beside 100% forgiveness, some of the drivers are asking questions, you know, whether they can use a loan to spend. So basically the question is, are drivers required to spend this loan amounts specifically for their paycheck related expense, or can they spending some other purpose like running their business? Is there any specific kind of requirement to this?
So again, the best source right now, again, you got to forget what I say. You may watch the video several times, but as eloquent as Sam and I can be, you're still going to want a printed proof source. And the best proof source taking you through that question is on the form itself. It specifies what items that do qualify for forgiveness. Up to 100% is ideal for the forgiven amount, but you can have 60% towards payroll and 40% for other qualified expenses, which are addressed on the form. And it's very clear guidance.
Okay.
And
So,
also, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt you. And also, you have to keep all your records, and this record you have to submit to the application.
Okay.
This is
So,
very important to qualify.
So I guess another question is that if a driver spend this money somewhere else, let's say buying groceries, and would that be something illegal to do? Would that be, you know, something? Certainly they have to pay it back, right? But like, what do you guys think about this?
Well, it's a good question. And when you take out the loan, when you initiate the application, you go through a number of questions where you're certifying the utilization of the funding. So if you go totally outside of the intent and spirit of what you certified towards, I don't even want to go there. I mean, it is a problem. You want to pay it back, and clearly you have to face some kind of review process. If it's immoral or unethical, clearly it could be fraudulent. So you don't want to do that, obviously. And I'm sure nobody watching this would be in jeopardy of doing that.
Yeah, and thank you, Robert, for clarifying and that kind of a myth for the drivers. So I have a few more questions regarding other applications. I heard there are 2 different loan forgiveness forms available. One is a normal one, and one is the easy one. Is this true? And what is the difference between 2?
Sam, you've got a lot of experience in this. Why don't you take that one?
Yes, both are the same actually. The only one is the long one. They have more information that you have to submit, and the short one is the more easy to follow, really. But this depends on the bank what it's going to send to you. So this is what you have to be very careful when you receive the form, so you can ask for the short form. It's going to be easy for you.
Okay, so basically driver can use both form and to get their loan forgiveness purpose, right?
It's the same one. The only thing is on the only long form and the short form.
Okay, got it. Okay, so next question, as drivers.
If I could add one thing here, Henry. Again, the form does specify the difference, but you can use the easy if you're self-employed with no employees. My guess is the vast majority of people watching, you're going to qualify for the easy form, which is, I think, 2 pages versus the lengthy one where you have more employees. And if in the event you have more employees and you reduce your pay for them by more than 25%, there are some kickers. The vast majority of your viewers today, my guess is the easy form is going to be for you, as Sam mentioned.
Okay, and thank you for that. I think those are very important. Drivers should know the difference. So as a driver, we consider ourselves independent contractors, also like self-employee. Does this make us eligible for the easy applications?
Sam?
Yeah, I mean you can qualify because you are like a self-employed and you have a business, so you can apply for this. Only have to show the proof that you have your own taxes in the name of the business.
Okay. So another question on the easy applications, they mentioned cover the periods and alternative cover the periods. Can you explain what that means?
This is, for example, when you do the taxes, you're going to see this like how much you get for the whole year and how much you lost. So this is what information you have to put in the application.
And there's some confusion about the alternative covered period. What's that about? It's when you're talking about your average your monthly compensation, and this really applies to people with employees more than what we're talking about with you today. But the alternative period is when your covered period is over. So it's either 8 weeks, or if you got a loan after June 5th, you can apply for 8 weeks or 24 weeks. The alternative period, it means that if you want to say, all right, I'm done dispersing the loan today, I got my loan today, the period for covered period starts right then. You start factoring in what your compensation is. The alternative period means, all right, you got the loan today, but your payroll period doesn't start until, let's say, this coming Monday. That could be the start of your alternative period. Even though you got the fund today, the loan today, it's not going to start until Monday because that's when my payroll period starts. That's what they refer to as the alternative period. You can't wait for 3 or 4 weeks. It's got to start soon, but it's either immediately or as soon as the next payroll period begins. And again, my guess is that's going to apply mostly to people outside of this discussion, or if you have drivers that have a team and a company, it may apply to them if they're paying wages.
Okay. Question regarding what if a driver make a mistake on the application? Can they go back? You know, how can they correct the mistake?
Before to submit the form, they will tell you that you make any mistake. If you make a mistake, they will send to you an email to request to fix this.
Okay, so what if a driver, let's say, accidentally, you know, the application process, and he realized there was, you know, a typo, a mistake in, you know, some information that get filled out. Like, should they email you guys?
When they send the application, they're going to receive email like a confirmation, and any mistakes you can send to email to them.
Well, and all the more reason you want to have a relationship with your lender. Please don't send Sam or me an email saying, oops, I misspelled my name or I typo. It's got to be through the lender. So you want to have a point of contact. And once these forgiveness forms are sent out by each individual lender, you'll have a point of contact by email. So if you discover an error, you obviously want to pursue that quickly, because they've got 60 days to give you an answer. So you've got a window there, but you know, we've had problems with other errors that are made. People took the money, they waited more than a week, and you can't change it then. So obviously you want to have a double, and we mentioned best practices before. You want to double and triple check this, because it's forgiveness. It means the difference between free money and you're going to be on the hook for a loan. So you definitely want to make sure. But to Sam's point, the lender is also watching out for your benefit too, and they will email you or contact you as soon as if they notice anything egregious.
Yeah. And is there anything else you would like to say to our drivers specifically?
Sam?
Just to be on time when you send your application. If you have any question, just call or email to your bank, or we can call us to any kind of questions that you have.
If I can just throw Rob's 2 cents in. First of all, many of you out there may have decided you didn't want a PPP loan, or you think you're too small, you don't qualify for it. Look, you have until the 8th of August to get your application in. Having said that, I'm going to tell everybody listening, don't wait till the 7th to submit your application. If you do want a PPP, you want to give the bank a little bit of a chance to prepare, underwrite, and approve you. I would say you need to get your application in by the end of the month. By statute, you have till the 8th. I don't know many lenders that will take your application on the 8th and still process. So please investigate this. Contact your SBA resource partner, like the Small Business Development Center or the Women's Business Center or SCORE, and just bounce it off them. Hey, should I look at this? Should I apply? Do I qualify? Can I be forgiven? It might mean the difference between you getting through this pandemic in good shape or not. The other thing I do want to mention, it's outside the realm of this discussion, but it's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the EIDL. You may have heard about. I mention it only because there is still money available, and there's no cutoff for that. It's first come, first served. When the money is depleted, the money is depleted. So for those who are looking for more of a working capital loan to help you pay for things such as accounts payable or things that have to be paid by your business in order to remain solvent through the balance of this pandemic, you may want to relook at that. If you haven't applied yet, please do so. If you have applied yet and you were turned down, please, if you got a declination email, ask for reconsideration. And again, ask your SBA resource partner, SCORE, Small Business Development Center, Women's Business Centers, PTAC, for help in how do you do that, because you're just leaving money on the table that could be a tremendous resource for you.
So again, thank you for your recommendation and walking through, us in this process. I think, you guys are doing a great job, just, partner with us, reaching out for us, like, to help so many countless drivers in New York City and New York State. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts. It's always great, and hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.